Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the WGLNA Season 2 playoffs. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left is David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube at /WGLNA. And as always, follow us on Twitter at WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you. Again, if you guys have been paying attention, Quinn here is back in the studio. So Quinn, how's it going?
Hey, Christian, I'm doing great. And to you viewers out there, last Thursday, you had questions, we had answers. But even better news, we are doing that again tonight. And you can do that using @WGLNA, #mailbag on Twitter. And how it's going to work is after each match, we're going to take those questions and we're going to answer them for you live right here on the show. And they can be funny, they can be silly, they can be really anything that you want. So make sure to tweet those to us @WGLNA, #mailbag.
Thank you, Quinn. I'm sure it's going to be great. But you know what else would be great?
What, David?
If you were to tune in to battleviewer.com for the
that's
same
right.
Twitch chat you know and love, plus easy access to our YouTube, Twitter, match listings, match standings, but not Fantasy Tonight.
That's right, Fantasy, guys, is all over. But so congratulations to now our three finalists, really, of the final, the points leaders for Fantasy for this last season. It is Entropy, Be in Vegas, and Drakon Slayer 21. Can't wait to see you guys for the live Vegas finals on February 27th. But just in case you guys didn't win, you're like, oh man, I didn't win the free trip over. You guys can still be there, so come on over to Vegas, February 27th for the live finals. But before we get there, guys, we have to go through tonight. Tonight are the playoffs. Let's pull up the bracket for the matches that you will be seeing. Up first, it's going to be Caller Wanted versus Aquatic M60s, followed by Rival versus 07. Third is going to be Eclipse versus the winners of Battle 1. And finally, High Voltage against the winners of Battle 2. Again, they are fighting for the just 2 remaining spots for the live finals in Las Vegas to face off against Noble and Simp. The grand prize for the winner is going to be $75,000. That is what first place is taking home. So these guys, a lot is on the table for these guys. So David, let's go ahead and before we talk actually about tonight, we talk about the Pro Bowl because we got that's still going on. It's going to be February 16th. In between now and the finals, what happened is the teams for the season have picked 3 players they nominated to WGL, and WGL chose 1 out of those 3. So now we have 12 pro players playing for the Pro Bowl, but we need you guys to choose the final 4. So go over to fantasywgl.com, click on the Pro Bowl link, and pick the 4 players that you guys want to see play. I know David picked Meadowhawk. I picked Meadowhawk. So, I mean, that's just some suggestion there. You don't have to pick what we picked, but you can also pick 3 more after Meadowhawk if you choose that way. But again, Pro Bowl happening February 16th is going to be awesome. But let's get on with what's going on tonight. It is playoff season, so let's talk about the teams. Up first is going to be Caller Wanted versus Aquatic M60. So going kind of just quickly about what we've got seen. Caller Wanted lost their first 2 games in the season. Then they came back with the next 9, winning 9. They only lost 3, and they lost to High Voltage, Simp, and Eclipse, the top teams, overall finishing 6 wins, 5 defeats. Aquatic M60s beat Caller Wanted when they first played, beat them 5-1. Then, in the middle of the season, kind of had a little losing streak of 4-game losing, but ended out the season beautifully with 3 wins, one of those being against High Voltage. Finished that off 5 wins, 6 defeats. Out of these 2 teams, David, what are you expecting to see?
I would say that AM60s has the advantage.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, the last time these 2 teams played was actually very, very early in the season, one of the first 4 matches, if I remember correctly. So this is before Caller Wanted had found their caller.
Yeah.
But that score was 5-1, and they played maps that Caller Wanted does like to play. Played Ruinberg and Ghost Town. On Ruinberg, it went 1-3 in favor of AM60s, and then obviously in Ghost Town, it was just a 2-0. AM60s has been really showing up strong recently. And it really depends. If Caller Wanted has dynamic strats and they run them confidently, they can pick apart a team like AM60s. But if they don't, if they fumble at all, AM60s is very, very likely to win, in my opinion. And considering the trend that they're on, I don't know if they're going to fall off that wagon today.
All right, guys, this is going to be exciting. First match, indeed, between Caller Wanted and Aquatic M60s. And again, looking at this, I know just we kind of talked about the implications of a lot of these matches tonight have ripple effects throughout the entire season.
Actually, so Caller Wanted, if they lose, Caller Wanted will get 7th place in the overall relegation, which means they have a relegation match. They don't just get kicked out.
Wow.
But if AM60s loses, they're gone.
It's
they're
over.
Right out of the league. This is do or die for
them. Big match for both these teams, especially for Aquatic M60s. Up next is going to be Rival versus 07. So Rival beat 07 when they played off against in the season 5-3. Very back and forth, though, kind of the performance. Wins, lost throughout the regular season. They took High Voltage, Noble to tiebreakers. So that was something pretty notable that Rival did, finishing off 5 wins, 6 defeats. Now over on 07's side, same kind of back and forth throughout the season as Rival. They took High Voltage, Simp, and Noble to tiebreaker. So kind of another one-up team over Rival, finishing off the season 5 wins, 6 defeats. David, between these two teams, what are you expecting to see?
Well, 07 has been playing better recently, even though Rival had a nice showing against Noble recently. Hard to really draw a whole lot from that. They did play Prohorovka and Himmelsdorf the last time they played, and where 07 really took over in the 1-3 on Himmelsdorf, but it was 2-2 on Pros. So as long as they stay away from that, I think 07 will be fine. I expect to see Mines probably. As far as this match goes, both Rival and 07 need Call or Wanted to win.
What is that?
In order to guarantee that they can get a 7th place.
Oh, okay.
Or not immediately get relegated into the 8th place. It's kind of a complicated arrangement, but if they have to go against, I believe it is, if they go against Color Wanted, then they're 8th because Color Wanted beat them both. But if they go against AM60s, it's a different situation.
Again, exciting matches for all these teams, right? Especially the first 4, Color Wanted, Aquatic, Rival, and 07. Now up next, the third match of the night is going to be Eclipse versus whoever wins between Color Wanted and Aquatic M60. So looking at Eclipse, they beat Simp throughout the season. Their entire ending was 8 wins, 3 losses, so a pretty good run for them. They lost to Noble, High Voltage, and 07, so that's something to keep in mind. Now, when they played against Color Wanted, they beat them 5-2. When they play against the M60s, they only beat them 5-4 in a tiebreaker. So, David, between these two teams, I mean, the implications, what happens if Color Wanted goes against Eclipse? What happens if Aquatic goes against Eclipse?
Well, aside from what it means for Color Wanted and AM60s and some of the other teams before this match, it obviously means big things for Eclipse. They want to get to the finals. They won't get kicked out of the league if they lose this, is my understanding. That's kind of a complicated relationship to look into, though. But AM60s has a better chance to beat Eclipse. I mean, they've gone toe-to-toe with Noble or High Voltage recently. They came very close to Noble, if I remember correctly. And Color Wanted, meanwhile, lost to Eclipse 5-2, and it wasn't earlier in the league. It was fairly recently. I believe it was in January. So the maps that were played there for AM60 were Ruenberg and Himmelsdorf. The maps that were played for Color Wanted and Eclipse were Murovanka and Ruenberg. So it's really going to depend. If they play Ruenberg, obviously that's one of Eclipse's favorite maps. I think they've got an advantage over both teams there. Himmels was definitely AM60 favorite last time I saw him play, even though it was 2-2. AM60s was winning most of the time. And it went to a tiebreaker on Ghost Town in the AM60s versus Eclipse game, where Eclipse was able to bring it home with a very nice overall cap strategy. So it's a closer game between AM60s and Eclipse. But again, if Color Wanted shows up and plays the best that they can rank up there with any of these teams. It's just not what we've seen as a standard performance all season long.
Sure, but we're looking, kind of talking about Color Wanted, though, throughout the season, is they have progressed so much. Again, starting out with losses, finding the colors after the roster changes, then coming back and kind of finishing out strong. But again, Aquatic M60s where both stand, it does seem that they're just slightly ahead of Color Wanted right now. And if they do go against Eclipse, like you pointed out, they were the ones who got the closest because Eclipse beat Color Wanted 5-2, tiebreaker with Aquatic M60. So that'll be interesting to watch. And then fourth and finally is going to be High Voltage versus whoever wins between Rival and 07. So High Voltage throughout the season, finishing off 9 wins, 2 defeats, doing a fantastic job there. They beat Simp throughout the season, kind of thing. The only 2 losses was to Noble and AM60s right at the end, of which we saw a couple weeks ago. If they go up against Rival, here's the thing, both teams, even if Rival goes through, if 07 goes through, both took High Voltage to a tiebreaker during the regular seasons. So, David, kind of the implications of that, what do you see happening maybe possibly in that fourth and final match?
Well, first off, we've talked about the 9 wins and 2 defeats for High Voltage, if I remember correctly, but there is a lot of draws in there. Tiebreakers that they won, but they lost a point for, or lost a potential point
Which
for.
is
So
why
they got
they're
2
in third.
instead of 3.
Right.
And that is why they're in this situation to begin with. And it was against teams like this. If they play against 07, or the way they've been playing recently, and if they go to Mines at all, I think 07 has a very good chance of winning. And I think they're probably the favorite out of the entire bracket right now, in my opinion. Not all the way into the finals. That's a different ballgame because Simp is Simp right now, and they're playing out of their minds so well. But if High Voltage plays Rival, that's a much more interesting game. So far, High Voltage has been doing different strategies, not playing necessarily to their strengths, but playing to
just
ideas
trying new things,
and concepts.
Yeah.
And sometimes Rival can struggle with that. But if Rival shows up to play, who knows? I mean, they had their own crazy strategies recently against Noble with some very hard counters and a couple of other things. So either way, it should be a good game, as evidenced by the fact that both of them went to tiebreakers against High Voltage. But it wouldn't surprise me to see High Voltage get unseated by either of these teams tonight.
All right, guys, so that is the 4 matches that we have from you. The 6 teams playing for 2 final spots to face off against Noble and Simp in the live finals. And again, these teams playing for $75,000 is the first prize. So much on the line, David. I cannot wait to just get into what are these teams feeling. I mean, you've been here before, and so all the questions that have been going out tonight. Guys, ladies and gentlemen, let us know right now in the chat which match you're most excited for and who do you think is going to take it as we are finishing out our pregame show. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Do not go anywhere. Match number 1 of the playoffs coming right up. See if they can hold it off. Aquatic M60s, now as the pressure's on, are starting to head over their Flesh is just running. He has 1 goal right now, and that is to get the reset. 9 seconds on the clock. Redux and Shapeshifter find kills, but it's going to be nothing if Flesh can't get there in time. 4:39 going into Destruction Man. Just needs to end him, but Shapeshifter takes him out. If he can get the shot, Firewall takes it before he can, though. But Firewall steps off the cap. It looks like, no, Mr. Man found the reset on that T-22 just in time, allowing Aquatic M60s to come over the side. 3 tags remaining for Googly Bobbers. 5 for Aquatic M60s. Down, Shimbo getting lit up. 13, Master Putin takes him down in the bat chat. A T-22 gone. The first tank falling for the side of Ping. Reaper gonna respond by finding Darth Vader. Flashland takes Reaper out, and now Papa Dijon and Master Putin taking a lot of damage from Ping. Romstar taking out Taco, but Mufasa does find Master Putin in the back jet. And Drogon with Scoopra, a double kill coming out from Ping, tying it up 4-4 here. Mufasa taking out Papa Dijon. That's 3 in a row. Going head-to-head against an E5. Tiger Thief versus him. He's going to go off the side. Takes a lot of damage. It's just going to be a Goomba. It's a Goomba, ladies and gentlemen. Oxteam as well, getting low. Magenta Panda finishes him off, but it's going to be all for nothing as we still have the 3 members on cap. No one is spotted out yet. Aggressor is trying as best as he can to get there in time. Will he get there? Will he light anyone up? The cap goes down to 0, and it looks like High Voltage has successfully attacked onto Moravanka here. It doesn't matter what happened to the south. Aggressor gets there too late, and High Voltage High Voltage did it once. Can they do it now on Ghost Town? They successfully did it on Steps. Let's see what happens.
High Voltage is actually looking fairly good here. They got arc lit for the resets. They've got a number of tanks going to drive directly into a pretty standard fight here. Just about D6, so it's all going to come down to who plays the best.
Crashing down the alley right now. Flesh taking 444 here. It is now a 3-on-3 right here. The cap, though, is down to 1 second. It's down to 0. Felix was spotted out, but it doesn't look like it was in time. It looks like Aquatic M60s have successfully capped against High Voltage. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 2 playoffs. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, oh yeah, that's David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA if you're not watching this on battleviewer.com. Guys, what are you doing? It's the playoffs. Go over to battleviewer.com and check us out there. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you and answer for us the question of the day.
Which is essentially, who do you think is going to reach the live finals? Now, that's 4 teams.
All right, so I'm very confident. I'm very confident in Simp and Noble. I'm going to give them the for sure. I'm very confident they're going to make the live finals. As far as the teams,
probably a good bet.
As far as the teams playing tonight, my gut says go with 07. So I think 07 is going to go to, which gets down to Eclipse, and then maybe AM60s, but if I had to pick, I would say 07 and Eclipse are my 2 picks. David, what about you?
You pretty much hit the nail on the head right there. I'm a little bit on the fence of AM60 versus Eclipse. I mean, it depends on the day. It depends on the day with all
With
the teams that we
with
have
anything
here.
could happen tonight.
But over previous, most recent performances, I think 07 and Eclipse are the most likely teams to get through.
All right, guys, let us know right now in chat who you think are the 2 teams out of tonight that are going to make it to the finals and should join Simp and Noble to play off for, again, $75,000 in Las Vegas. And let's pull up the bracket here again. If you guys missed it during the pregame show, this is what you will be seeing tonight. Up first is going to be Color Wanted versus Aquatic M60s, followed by Rival versus 07. The winner of match number 1 is going to face off against Eclipse in Battle 3, and the winner of match number 2 is going to face off High Voltage in Battle number 4. So, David, starting off here, we have Color Wanted, we have Aquatic M60s. We in the pregame show giving the slight advantage to AM60s, but looking at kind of the play styles from both of these teams, what would you say? Are they similar in any ways? Are they just totally polar opposites?
No, Color Wanted is often fast and loose, aggressive, somewhat timing based, a little bit. And then AM60s just changes all the time. They tend to tailor their opponents towards, or tailor their strategies towards their opponents, and that's part of what makes me believe they have an edge in this battle.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the face-off is ready for our first match of the night. It is, again, Color Wanted versus Aquatic M60s. On the side of Color Wanted, we have Lemming Rush. On the side of Aquatic M60s, we have Mr. Man. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off. Lemming Rush, going to go ahead and start off with you, sir. Now, well, first of all, congratulations to making it to the playoffs, guys. It's so great to see you here. My question is going to be very tailored to how you're feeling about your opponent. So, what aspects of AM60's gameplay are you guys most worried about as a team?
Certainly they're really good at team play. That's something more for the callers to worry about. Obviously, like, as a player myself, I don't call, so it hasn't really been a huge aspect of what I've been looking into. I've more been focusing on learning our strats, learning how to play to my team and things like that. But certainly they're really good at team play, and sort of like Nagatron said, is they're really good at tailoring their strats to their opponents. So yeah, that's an aspect, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
That is a strength you guys have as well sometimes, though, so we'll see. Lemming Rush, this is possibly the last time that you guys get to address your fans and the viewers this season, at least. So is there anything you'd like to say to them?
Praise Gapneck.
Wow, awesome, great.
To be honest, I have no idea what that means.
Yeah,
but I like it. Let's go with it.
But I'm going to go with it. All the fans are like, yeah, absolutely, exactly what Lemming Rush said.
It's a Bulba meme.
Oh, Lemming Rush, thank you so much. Mr. Man, going to go over to you, sir. First of all, for easy question, where'd the mustache go?
It was growing in too much. I had to get rid of it.
It just looked so awesome. It makes sense. You don't want to intimidate other people.
I mean, I think he grew that in like the past 10 minutes.
Yeah, you just shaved it off right before the face-off. That's already there.
I have to.
Mr. Man, I totally get you. Now, same question as I asked to Color Wanted. What about Color Wanted's play worries you guys most as a team?
Probably just unpredictability, not knowing where they might go or where they might push, like all their tanks and stuff. That's the only thing that we're a little concerned about.
Sure, that'd be terrifying if I didn't know what my opponent was going to do either.
It is. So, Mr. Man, same thing as I said to them. This is potentially the last time you get to address your fans and viewers this season. Is there anything you'd like to say to them now?
Just don't mess with the stash.
That's a great thing to say to them. All right, gentlemen, before we get into the battle, Lemming Rush, is something I'd like to say to Mr. Man before we get started?
Good luck.
All right, Mr. Man, your response?
Good luck, have fun, and let the best team win.
Gentlemen, best of luck to both of you. We'll see you very shortly.
There you have it, the rosters from both teams. Recent standout players being, hard to list for both of the teams. Color Wanted, Magenta Panda, Delph, Aggressor in some situations. All of them really step up at different times. Smiley Rage, also worth a shout out.
Yeah.
Flesh for Aquatic M60s, Mr. Man, Veggie, all sorts of people on that team as well. Felix, Shapeshifter. Here we go to the Fantasy WGL pre-match page. Color Wanted has played the most on Cliff, Aquatics the most on Steps. Both of them have used the T-22 the most out of every other tank. Top score for Color Wanted is currently Magenta Panda, and for Aquatic M60s, Mr. Man.
Man, it's kind of like a
man.
Man. It's kind of a bittersweet moment when I see that the number one played map is Cliffs, because then I guess that the other team is going to ban it out against them, which means good, it's brilliant to ban it out against them, but man, do I love Cliff. And I love Cliff so much that guess what WGL did? They made the tiebreaker map tonight Cliff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, it's so awesome, guys. So if any of these go into a tiebreaker, we will be seeing Cliff tonight, so I'm super excited about that. But again, David, kind of going back to what I was talking about, the different play styles between both these teams. So coming into it as Color Wanted, coming to it as AM60s, what would be your kind of prep for both the teams? I mean, maybe it's a general question. What is the difference coming to playoffs?
Well, as a general question, the difference coming into playoffs is just you have no idea what to expect for the most part. Teams can counter-strat, they can come up with whole new strategies that they haven't shown before that aren't direct counters, that just do weird things you're not ready for. So, I mean, you have no idea what to expect until you get into a couple games. You start to get a feel for it. But if they're really, really crazy with their kind of meta strategy,
Takes a while.
they'll change after a couple games into a different philosophy, so you can't really track them. And if you're trying to respond as opposed to playing your own game,
Terrifying.
you can lose.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's see what happens as the first match of the playoffs is about to get underway. It's Color Wanted versus AM60 starting out in Ghost Town. Let's go right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Alrighty, here in the first battle of the night. Color Wanted with 2215s, 2 E5s, a T22, a 62A, and an M40, M43 on defense. Dr. Halo.
Dr. Halo's coming back.
And ready surgical with that artillery in the past. We'll see if he can get it done tonight. Aquatic M60s with a 50B, a 215, 2 E5s, a T22, a Conqueror, and a T10. Now, the last time these two teams faced off on Ghost Town, AM60s ran away with the game 2-0. But again, this was long before a lot of the roster changes happened for Color Wanted.
Yeah.
The man himself right here, Aggressor, was not there to help Color Wanted with their overall strategic look. They didn't have Smiley Rage. All sorts of things. So this is a very different game. It's all on the line, and anybody can take it.
Right now, Fix Reloaded and Morphic both fawning each other in the alleyway, both taking a shot. The one that did connect was Fix Reloaded in that E5 onto Morphic's Conqueror. Just for a little bit over 300 damage. Not too much to scoff at, but definitely more than Color Wanted got in return. About a minute going by here. And just kind of, again, just this... What I love about this, both these teams facing off, is the first time we saw them was, I think it was like the first week of the season they played against each other. And now we get to see them at the end in the playoffs. Both teams coming so far here, and Felix taking 769 there in that 50B. Got to be careful. Color Wanted doing a great job finding little bits of shots where they can. Felix taking another one there. He's now getting on the corner just in time to be safe.
Nice corner play from Aggressor there, getting 2 shots into a critical tank. 50Bs are absolutely devastating in close quarters, and in some cases sniping, as long as they've got the hit points to manage the poking. But without that, it's a different ball game. And 900, borderline 900, coming out on Mr. Man from, I believe, Dr. Halo.
Is that Dr. Halo?
M43.
Well done there. He is lit up there.
If it was, that's a brilliant contact for an M40.
And that T10, which is a tier 9 again, ladies and gentlemen, just reminding you that. Color Wanted on defense, Aquatic M60s on offense. It seemed like they were trying to do something on the southeast. Now they've taken too many shots. They decided to give that up, which is allowing Color Wanted to look at this immediately to just move right back into position where Aquatic M60s just were. They're just suffocating AM60s here, trying to find them out wherever they can. Right now, Fix Reloaded being spotted out against Shapeshifter. Taking a shot from Flesh there. And that 5B taking 2. Followed up there from Shape, 802. Going into that E5 there, and finally Color Wanted taking a little bit of damage from AM60s here, but Shapeshifter getting focused down, 1169 going there down to that E5. So much has gone into AM60s. Color Wanted now up over 2,000 points of HP here, and they are on defense. I mean, this is a great job. If they can just keep this up, Aquatic M60s are going to have a tough time trying to find their way out of this one.
They've taken a lot of damage from the side containment of the 62A, driven by Smiley Rage, and the T22, driven by Aggressor. Aggressor's now gotten in behind him. So it's really only Fixer Reloaded that is at risk here, and he has that large risk. But if Aquatic M60s goes for him, I have a feeling there's going to be a trap here.
All right, now Fixer Reloaded looks like he'll be going down. Shapeshifter has a shot left. He's trying to get behind. Fleshes will be up in time. The shot just barely missing, so Euro might be the one to take this one and finish him off. And there it goes. Fixer Reloaded going down. The first tank of the battle on the side of Color Wanted. Let's see what Color Wanted can do to respond. Morphic took a little bit of damage there in that Conqueror. Smiley Rage now come behind him, David, like you said, taking some shots there onto Veggie in that T22 from his T62A. And Dr. Halo finishing him off there in the artillery. What you say is when you bring an artillery, if it can take out a tank, then it's going to be worth it. And right now, it's taking out a tank. Let's see if they can continue that momentum as Lemming Rush takes a couple of shots there from Euro and Flesh. D5s and the 5B. 372, they're going right back into Flesh there. Lemming Rush having to be careful. A shot from behind, but Morphic just missing. A high roll there could have ended that E5, and Felix taking out Smiley Rage. That's now 2 tanks fallen for the side of Color Wanted, just 1 for Aquatic M60s as Vezi has gone down in that T22. Shapeshifter 304 barely holding on there with 14 points of HP, and now we've got a battle here on the corner on Ghost Town. 4 minutes on the clock. Aggressor coming in behind the Conqueror, driven by Morphic, comes up beside him, looks for the shot, takes it, and finishes off that Conqueror. And now it is a 5-on-5. Lemming Rush taking down Euro, though, making that 5-on-4. Flesh takes down Lemming response. Down fights Flesh. Dr. Halo finishes off Shapeshifter. That's another kill in the artillery. And now just 1 tank remain as Felix falls to Delph. It looks like Color Wanted is going to find the first battle of their playoff match against Aquatic M60s here on defense. On to Ghost Town. Congratulations to them picking that one up. Dr. Halo coming back in the artillery and landing some amazing shots, finishing off 2 tanks and whittling some down as well. Can't wait to check out these stats because an artillery played well.
No doubt about it. He had some incredibly clutch shots, some of them which weren't on the highest HP tanks around, but they were finishing tanks in critical positions. That E5 right at the end that was coming up from the high ground was a serious threat. Could have turned the entire tide of the battle. Wasn't very likely, but Dr. Halo made sure to put it into that real quick.
Not gonna happen at all.
Let's go ahead and get into those stats and see exactly what took place in that game. Flesh in his 215, about 3,000 damage. Mr. Man, 2,400, 2,000 for Shapeshifter, 1,900 for Ural, about 1,000 for Felix. And then over here for Color Wanted. Aggressor doing 3,900. You can go ahead and ignore this allied damage that was done at the end of the battle. He just killed Delph for the fun of it.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that.
Delph himself, 3,500 in the 215. Absolutely critical play from him holding down that corner for as long as he did. Fixer squeezed in 2,500 while being left in a very crazy spot. Probably took a little bit too much damage for retreating, but nitpicking there. Dr. Halo, 4 shots, 3 hits, 3 pens, and 3 splashes. That is absolutely outrageous. 2,000 damage, really critical shots at critical times. Well placed. If you got an artillery that plays that well.
Might as well.
And 1,500 for Magenta Panda. Yeah, like we've talked about artillery quite a bit here on mines and on Ghost Town. We're generally in favor of them, or at least I am on defense on Ghost Town, on offense on mines. They both have a place. But if you don't have an artillery player
that can hit the shots,
shooting like Dr. Halo or like we saw Velox on Tuesday,
bring out a tank.
Then it's not worth it. But if you do, oh man, lay it out on the table.
That can happen right there, ladies and gentlemen. As Color Wanted goes up 1-0 against Aquatic M60s. We're now switching sides. Let's get right back into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Color Wanted with a tank down, actually. This is a disaster at this point in the game.
No.
2 215s, an E5, a Batch at a 62A, and an AMX 1390. Aquatic M60s with an E100, a 215, 2 E5s, a T22, and 2 Conquerors. Not only are they down to Tier 10, but they're down to Tier 10 against a double Tier 9 lineup. So they've essentially allowed the equivalent of a 1390 to 2 Conquerors. That's basically what's going on here. That is not even remotely fair under any circumstance. But when they're on offense, it is a catastrophe. No other way around it. If Aquatic M60s loses this, it's going to spell some bad things for their overall Ghost Town capability. But as it is right now, AM60s just needs to look for a fight and have it because they've got every advantage under the sun right now.
Dr. Halo spotting out Shapeshifter there in that E5 just for a second, but I'm so interested to see what Color Wanted could do. Not only, I mean, when this happens in the regular season, it's just such a bummer to see. When it happens during the playoffs, when you guys are trying to get to the finals, one step closer to $75,000, and someone doesn't load in, just gotta kill a team.
It can be all sorts of different things. Somebody tried to load it in the wrong tank. They just click the wrong place in the garage, something like that. And then there's 3 of 1 tank in a battle, so you get DQ'd if he's in.
So you might as well just leave
so
real quickly.
You might as well unready. It's rarely a situation where they're in the wrong tank and they just can't ready down and ready up in time in the correct tank. Usually not that, although it does take a fairly long amount of time to do that, often longer than people expect. A lot of the time, it's either just a disconnection or somebody picking the wrong tank and getting stuck in it as the timer went down.
All right, well, let's see what Color Wanted can do. It's a 6-on-7 already in favor of Aquatic M60s, and on defense, they've I mean, yeah, you're right. If Color Wanted was on defense, it's a lot, I guess, less steep of a hill to climb. But man, once you're on offense, tank down.
I mean, you can only really talk about it in relative terms. It's less steep of a hill, but it is still very steep.
Still a huge
On a map
hill.
like Ghost Town, with a tier 10 gone, your enemy can simply put pressure on the 2-cap, force you to come to it to fight, hold down all the corners like we've seen Eclipse do in the past, and it's a pretty easy win from there. They have to come to you, and they have to come to you in force, and there's only a certain number of positions they can feasibly take. And then you have a 7 on almost 5. It depends on how well that 1390 is played.
Okay.
But either way, he could dump his entire clip and reload, and it just will not be a significant amount of DPM unless he gets it on the right tank in the right place. So Caller Wanted trying to fight from an incredible short-sighted position, or shorted position, I should say. And right now, AM60 is just holding. They're going to make him come to them. It looks like the player that's missing for Caller Wanted is Lemming Rush.
Lemming Rush is out, yes. So again, we'll see what Caller wants to do. Aggressor taking the first little bit of damage there. Veggie taking some as well. That T22. So the batch, the T22 kind of going head-to-head here. Smiley Rage now taking a good chunk of damage as he crosses with Aggressor. Now they're finding Veggie out. 442 going on him. Aggressor taking 3 from 9, and this is Caller Wanted. They're going to try to find a tank here. And they can take it down from Aquatic M60s without taking too much in return. And they're looking better, but whoa! Fix reloaded. 1556 going into that E5 there. Looks like Ural, Shapeshifter, Morphic, maybe even Mr. Man all had a part of that one. And that is just not a comfortable position to be in at all if you are a fixer here. Dr. Halo going around, maybe trying to go for another spot here, and he has spotted himself, though. Felix taking a little bit of damage there, and that Conqueror. Dr. Halo getting lit up and deleted by Mr. Man. And there is now a tank down already again for Caller Wanted. It is a 5-on-7, looking worse and worse and worse for Caller Wanted.
Caller Wanted now down over 5,000 hit points.
Yeah. It's gonna take a miracle for Caller Wanted to come back from this one here. They're gonna have to pull some amazing plays out. This is, I guess I'm about to say this would be the time to pull out those crazy ones you've worked on that no one knows how to counter. But no,
well, you need all your tanks
for
to be
that
able
one.
to pull off the crazy stuff. Otherwise, it's just suicidal.
Oh, Mr.
Smiley
Man.
Rage getting a little bit of soak damage here, but not enough. AM60s understands exactly what they need to do here. This is the playoffs. Everything's on the line. It's a trip to Vegas and a potential chance at a pretty large check. So they're going to slow play this, make Caller Wanted come to them. Right now, Caller Wanted isn't be able to create an impetus anywhere here that AM60s cares about. So they're just going to play it nice and smooth.
All right, here Morphic and Mr. Man now driving right across the center cap. They're coming around, probably going to find a fixer loaded here in the D5. He's got to be careful. He is spotted out. Looks like Delph might be the one to spot him out there, but he's going to come around the corner, takes a shot, and a fixer 381. He takes 383 himself. And now backing up here. Here comes Shapeshifter, coming around the corner, looks at Fix Reloaded, takes the shot, and there goes an E5. Caller Wanted now down to 4 tanks. Aquatic M60s have yet to lose a single one. And what we got here is Veggie and Flesh. Nice little flank move there. Going to take down Aggressor in that bat chat. Flesh comes around, takes the first shot there. 423 going at him. Smiley Rage taking 320. Delph taking some damage. And Aquatic M60s is just slowing down Caller Wanted all over the map. There goes the tank down. Flesh picks up Aggressor here. Shapeshifter, Mr. Man and Ural just going to come around the corner. Just start finishing off the game. As there's nothing Caller Wanted could do right now to pick up this victory.
I was actually wondering if AM60s was going to sit as far back as possible for the entire duration of the game in order to guarantee that Caller Wanted has a lower amount of damage done.
Oh.
Because if this gets into a tiebreaker and nobody has won on offense, then it comes down to who did the most damage on offense.
Right.
And so far, Caller Wanted has only won on defense, so it could have been a nice way of addressing the future. But often, I subscribe to the philosophy as well of just taking the match that you have to guarantee you don't go to a tiebreaker.
Yeah, I like that one too. Congratulations to Aquatic M60s for now tying it up 1-1 here in our first playoff match of the evening. So, I mean, let's get into stats real quick, I guess, then we can talk about...
Let's go ahead and do it.
Let's do it.
Smiley Rage leading the pack for Caller Wanted with about 2,600 damage, 1,700 out of Magenta Panda, 1,700 out of Aggressor, 1,500 out of Delph. And that pretty much sums it up for Caller Wanted. For AM60s, not losing a single tank, 3,100 out of Mr. Man, 2,800 out of Morphic, 1,500 out of Felix, and everybody...
Over 1,000.
else in between 1,000 and 1,500. Everybody on the team breaking that 1,000.
Even with a tank down, so very, very impressive. Even with a tier 10 tank down, so very impressive on the side of Aquatic M60s to find those shots and get that damage still.
Yeah, a tier 10 tank, they couldn't farm for damage, but it was down for Caller Wanted.
Right, yeah. Right. So now I will be probably bringing this up multiple times in the night when I start seeing different situations this applies to, but we talk all season, obviously, about tilt and what can cause it. When it comes down to playoffs, then you say it depends. Oh, it depends on the team and how they kind of their morale goes. But in playoffs, is it just things like this? It could be over.
This is a type of potential tilt that matters even more about the individual. If you lose in big risk strategies, you can usually handle it fairly well. But if somebody makes a mistake like that, and say it is Lemming Rush's fault, and who knows if it is or isn't. Then if aggressor or somebody else in the team gets really upset about it, it's hard for them to calm down at that point.
Sure.
And these are the type of things that some people just cannot really forgive. They just lose their minds about it. And it depends on the circumstance. Now, if Lemming Rush just disconnected or,
it's like, okay,
or there was a
fine.
miscommunication that was team-wide, people can usually brush it under the rug. But if it was just a colossal mistake, like he readied down right before the timer went off, because that is a weird habit to get over when you play this game. A lot of people, for some reason, I have it as well to a certain extent. When the timer gets low, I feel like pressing the ready button because I feel like I'm trying to launch a battle.
Okay.
And some people actually do that and unready right as the timer goes off. But it's something you learn not to do pretty quickly. I mean, you just go hands-off mouse during the entire countdown.
Got to train yourself for that if you're coming into the Proto Leagues. Right now, ladies and gentlemen, is all tied up. Aquatic M60s and Caller Wanted 1-1. We've switched sides again. Let's go right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
For Caller Wanted, back with a full 7 in E100, a 215, an IS-7, a T22, an E3, a W100, and an M40, M43. That is an even more ambitious lineup than last time. With a lot of options being shut down just by the tank destroyers, both in favor of their movement and against the movement of M60s. AM60s with a 215, 2 E5s, a 57 heavy, a T22, a Conqueror, and a T10.
So bringing that Waffle E100, right? You got that auto-loader tank destroyer. Is that a type of tank that you would use to guard your artillery, or you're not going to waste that good of a tank on doing that?
Waffle E100, it depends on the angles. If you can guard an artillery and also lock down a lane, or rear guard other people's lanes so that somebody tries to flank them,
Going to do that.
then it's not a bad expenditure, provided he can get into the fight relatively quickly. If he sits so far back that he just protects the artillery only, then it is not a good play. Lemming Rush getting tapped. It is E3 for 419. That is not an easy shot to make a lot of the time. We'll see if that scares Lemming Rush down from locking down this angle. But to get back to your question specifically, it's actually Smiley Rage that's doing the artillery control in a sense. He's spotting the western side of the map, getting vision on Veggie, and guaranteeing AM60s isn't coming from underneath of the one line.
Okay.
But that also provides Dr. Halo the room to operate. They're not going to make it through the rest of the team to get to Dr. Halo, so just Smiley Rage needs to be there for now.
So Smiley Rage's position, can he be easily fired upon from the city, like where Mr. Man and Felix are in that G4 area, or is it just where Veggie is?
In fact, it looks like AM60 is trying to figure out where to go, so we can take a quick look at that right now. It's all buildings in this area. And even up here, you can get an angle, kind of. It's not great, but you're at risk from everything down the road, which is quite a bit. So if we take a look at it from Smiley Rage's angle, never mind, it looks like he's taken off. Go ahead.
Veggie just got shot by Dr. Halo, dropping him down to just 664 that T22.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is a monstrous shot coming out from Dr. Halo. Second time. Well, make it third time tonight. He's just hit absolutely incredible connections for huge damage.
So again, if you're going to bring in artillery, put someone like Dr. Halo in it who can just hit those shots. Well, we talked about Dr. Halo also in the regular season as a guy who just, as you called it, just gets crazy lucky in your terms with the artillery. Because I'm just like, this guy has, it's amazing. Every shot he lets go, it's like, yeah, here, boom, nailed it.
I throughout the entire time I've played this game, if I focus on it, I can put up some very, very, very good artillery games. I cannot do that in the M40, M43. It just fights me. I mean, when it hits me at max rolls, when I fire it, it just goes nowhere close to where I want it to. Meanwhile, Dr. Halo will fire on the move and just body contact a tank for ammo rack full health. And I just can't handle it. I can't handle it. It's one of the only people I don't want to play with, not because he's not fun to play with, but just because I can't handle watching that happen so much.
You're like, what? Teach me your ways, Dr. Halo.
I'm just kidding. I don't actually care that much.
All right, so some cap pressure being applied by AM60s for just the center cap, which we haven't really seen on Ghost Town be utilized a ton. I mean, obviously we haven't seen Ghost Town a ton. It's like the least played map of this season. But usually when people are going for the cap, they use that northern cap. Right now, Mr. Man applying that cap pressure there in that T10. Again, the tier 9 T10. Dell sneaking up to try to find him. He will spot him out here any second. There it is. Mr. Man knows him. He should be able to get a shot there on the I-7. Oh, look at that. Delph actually gets the shot of Mr. Man. Mr. Man's shot just missing there. So a nice reset coming out from them. And that just seemed a little too easy for Caller Wanted to reset. Aquatic M60s really didn't have a way to stop that at all.
Indeed. It should be essentially Shapeshifter's angle that gets that reset, but there is a compound in the middle of the cap that's blocking his shot. He will have to move up to guarantee he can protect Mr. Man. So a failure to monitor all of the proper angles here for AM60, but it looks like they're going to try and compensate by going big directly into the W100's kill zone to try and pick up Delph.
Oh, here we go. Delph might be in some trouble here. Let's see once he gets spot out if Caller Wanted can stop him. Look at that. Fix reloaded, taking 1249. Only doing a little bit of damage to Flesh, but Shapeshifter now taking a shot there. I'm assuming that was from Dr. Halo again. Delph right now, though, in the danger zone. 1502, 1950 in that IS-7. One more shot from Morphic. He'll be going down, and there it is, the first tank of this battle going down the side of Caller Wanted. Delph dropping in that I-7, and now Lemming Rush taking some shots as well. 848 going at him. He's got to be careful, trying to back up around the corner in that E3 so he cannot go down. Smiley Rage, meanwhile, has gone off of protection duty for Dr. Halo and has come to join the fight. Magenta Panda taking down Flesh there. Smiley Rage now looks like he has free reign on Morphic. 708 going right into that Conqueror. Magenta Panda only taking one shot from that. And it looks like it's going to be Smiley Rage to finish off Morphic. 2 tanks down on the side of Aquatic M60s, just one for Caller Wanted. So Caller Wanted doing a great job coming out positive for that trade.
Basically trading 1 tank for 2, although the W100 is fairly low. So is Felix, and that's going to start evening things up. Fixer overplayed just a tad there. Actually, more than a tad. Getting lit up quite a bit right off the bat, but he's able to get his damage in and continue doing exactly what he needs to do. So not that huge of a mistake in the overall effect on the match. And now we see Veggie and Felix starting to try and collapse in and pick off Smiley Rage from multiple angles, but Magenta Panda may have something to say about that.
Well, let's see right now. Smiley Rage taking 1 shot, 301 going to him. Veggie doing that from the back. Felix having 4 shots still in that 57 heavy, not letting a single one go yet. There's another one, 350, and the shot from Smiley Rage not connecting there onto Veggie in return. So he's just going to kind of go his own way, start wrapping back around to where we saw him sort of in the beginning of the map. And now 2 minutes and 10 seconds on the clock. Shapeshifter taking another shot. 402 from Magenta Panda there in that 5B. And Aquatic M60s, they need to do something quick because Shapeshifter will be going down. They're not even stopping Magenta Panda at all. He's just taking shot after shot. It looks like the depression on the E5 is just not good enough to deal with Magenta Panda right now. Aggressor taking 350, but this final shot from Magenta Panda should finish up Shapeshifter. No, he's gotten a little bit of a corner to make Magenta Panda commit, but I'm not sure why he did not do that earlier. Felix and Mr. Man both taking some damage there, and Aquatic M60 down to 2,600, and now 2,337 health. Magenta Panda finds Felix. 6 tanks on the side of Caller Wanted against just a 4 for AM60s. Looks like Caller Wanted is going to pick up their second game here on defense. On Ghost Town, Magenta Panda finishes off Shape. Mr. Man now is going to be in a nice little 3v, now 4v2 here. Ural sneaking around to try to take down Fix Reloaded if he can. Aggressor taking a nice shot there. A couple of these tanks. There it is. Aggressor coming in, though, to finish off that T10. And now Magenta, Smiley Rage, and Lemming going to chase down Veg in that T22. 634, a little bit of a ram. No, Magenta actually just going right in front of him. It's going to be Lemming Rush to take him down. Ural does end up finding Fix Reloaded there in that waffle. But he should be going down to Aggressor. Wow, right around the corner, taking the shot. And Caller Wanted finding their second victory here against AM60. So doing a really good job on defense, stopping AM60s with really whatever they're trying to do in the beginning. Veggie, like we were saying, see that kind of face-off between him and Smiley Rage. Dr. Hale landing that amazing shot on him, really kind of causing AM60 to go, okay, let's not do this. And this is both times on defense that AM60s have kind of had to push somewhere, it not work out by taking damage, and then have to go somewhere else. So Caller Wanted doing a great job controlling the map.
Caller Wanted's defensive positions were very well layered. Now, the only real weaknesses I saw were in very hard pushes and awkward areas, so they're not particularly intuitive, and you have to get a lot of intel to really know that. And then by the time you pull away from the places you would get the intel, they could readjust.
Yeah.
So there's some assumptions going on there, but AM60 is generally just looking lost about where they wanted to get into that fight, always hiding from Dr. Halo's artillery. So let's go ahead Take a look at those stats.
See what he did.
And see exactly how much of an impact he had overall. So here for AM60s, Morphic, the only one really getting in a good amount of damage. I'll take that back. A number of them all getting in the same ball park here. 1,800 for Morphic, almost 1,800 for Mr. Man, 1,700 for Felix, 1,600 for Shapeshifter, 1,600 for Veggie. They have the exact same damage.
Wow.
And about 1,000, but just not enough to total it up. But meanwhile, over there for Caller
Holy
Wanted,
what?
Magenta
What?
Panda.
When did this
with
happen?
5184 overall. Smiley Rage with 2678, 2,200 for Fixer Reloaded, 1,700 for Aggressor.
What?
Dr. Halo getting in 1,400, even though everybody was hiding from him. But yes, he bounced 1,200, and that was all in those cap resets. I mean, just, it's crazy. It's crazy how much he was able to get.
I don't even remember that. Yeah, Magenta Panda kind of getting some shots in here and there, but he like got all the shots.
Yep.
Woo! All right, so should we be keeping track tonight of who is going to just rack up the most damage?
I am already starting to keep track of who does the highest damage for the playoffs.
Oh, I love it, guys. That's the new thing. All right, in chat, let us know which player you think is going to put up the highest damage in one battle for the night playoffs as we get into the next fourth and final battle here onto Ghost Town between both these teams. Aquatic M60s back on defense. Can they tie it up, or can Caller Want to make it 3-1? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
For Caller Wanted now on offense, trying to extend this to a 3-1 lead. Two 215s, two IS7s, a bat chat, a T22, and an AMX 1390 for AM60s. Trying to tie it up with an E100, a 215, two E5s, a T22, and two Conquerors. Biggest difference between this battle and the last time AM60s was on defense?
7 players.
7 players.
On both teams here. So now it will be very interesting to see. Again, not gauging because every single battle is so unique. And so, I got a DC called here. It's been going back to the desk. Gonna let these teams kind of come right back into it, getting out of the game here. Again, we want these teams. This is the playoff season. We want to give everyone the best possible chance to win these games, and a DC is just not a great way to go about that. So what else can be saying? We'll get into battle shortly. What else can be saying is not that you can infer one thing from a battle based on the other, but if Caller Wanted has a very decisive victory here on offense, and you can maybe kind of infer that if they would have had all 7 before, we might have seen the same thing, and that could have been possibly a 4-0. So it'll be interesting to see kind of their play here on the Ghost Town, what they have against the M60s.
It's hard to draw any real inferences from anything that goes on.
Yeah.
On a map like Ghost Town, on teams that are this closely matched more often than not, Caller Wanted's had a great showing so far. Some of their strategies, we haven't really seen them play a whole lot of Ghost Town in the past.
Right.
And this is a new look for them. It's obviously working with Dr. Halo in the M40.
Jeez.
I'm interested to see what next map they're going to play and who's really going to be driving what in that, because we'll definitely be getting into the second map for at least 2 games.
At least 2 games. And then again, if it goes to a tiebreaker, we could be seeing Cliffs, which would be super exciting to see both these teams. Have we seen when they played? They didn't face off on Cliffs, did they? When they played each other?
No.
Do you remember?
No, I don't believe so.
So that'll be fun to see. I've always wanted to see how other teams do on Cliffs that they've kind of been avoiding it all season. I just want to see that kind of head-to-head brawl, just the crazy focus fire that goes on the HP sharing. It's just such a fun one indeed. So speaking about Ghost Town as a map kind of overall, David, just maybe breaking down the general strategies coming in from offense of what you would do, where you kind of want to go, what's a good way to kind of manipulate the defense here on this map.
This is one of the harder maps for that because there's not a whole lot of pre-established meta.
Right.
It takes a long time to figure out how to do that on Himmelsdorf. Ruinberg took forever for people to figure out. Mines to a certain extent. So it's still a fairly new map, and you don't really play it in public matches, so you don't get a lot of time to really practice it, aside from in actual practices. This map, it's just hard to say. The 1-2 line, basically the edges around the map seem to be kind of corridor-based fighting for mediums, and in the middle, it's not easy to get a team to shift from corner to corner due to how all the alleys are laid out.
Okay.
It's very, very easy for the defense to just adjust behind buildings, and you can't see them do it. And
no information.
You never know where they're going to pop up. There's just angles
terrifying.
everywhere, and all of the angles
awful.
focus into that crazy diamond formation in the middle. So with elevation issues, all the different shot angles, there are just huge portions of the map that are no man's land, essentially. If you step into it, you could die. It depends on whether you own it off the bat or you don't. It's the eastern side for the offense would never go to, and the western side for defense that offense would never go to.
All right, guys. Well, while we get ready to go to the next battle, as we have the DQ, we We want to have, again, give the teams the most time possible to get back into it. So we're going to go to a quick break, but do not go anywhere. We'll be right back. Okay, I think I got this now. Comps.
Yeah.
Akalav.
Akula. No V.
Militant.
Mm-hmm.
Dodoma.
No. Dodoma. So, Do.
Do.
Dodo.
Dodo.
Dodoma.
Dodoma. Okay. We get X-Swoida.
Ex-soldier.
Hey, what's up, Dadamo? All right. Canadian Impact. The Killzor.
Yeah.
Good. Good. Thanks, man. This is your first time in Tokyo?
This is my first time in Tokyo, yes. I didn't really necessarily have any expectations other than, you know, the food, which the food is great, by the way.
Getting to see the city. I mean, it's a new experience, first time in Asia.
I don't know, I want to soak in the culture.
It's a new culture, new surroundings.
And, you know, what makes Japan, Japan, right?
The Daily Dot traveled to the Pacific Rumble in Japan to tell the story of some unlikely heroes. A motley crew of esports players who hail from every corner of the US and Canada. Together, these men represent the two most formidable North American teams competing on the World of Tanks global stage. While their gamertags inspire awe amongst competitors and fans, not much is known about who they really are. In the Becoming Elite series, we take a look at the real people behind their online personas. A group of guys who play games for a living.
The part that probably woke me up the best is when David Williams said, these are pro gamers, these are professionals. And you just sit back and think, oh my God, how can that be? My kid's now a pro? How can he be a pro at gaming when he's basically still a kid?
I thought I was, well-traveled, being from where I was, going to Florida every once in a while. That's what was normal to me. I didn't think going to Tokyo would ever be an option. Not this soon anyway. Maybe, a lifetime trip down the road.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 2 Playoffs. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, David Williams. Be sure to check us out on Facebook, YouTube, /WGLNA. If you're not watching this on BattleViewer.com, go over there right now and check it out. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you. We are now coming back. There was a DQ in the last battle between Color Wanted and AM60s. The teams are getting ready to go right back into it. So we have just come back and just kind of getting that final preparations here. It looks like every team is in and loaded up, so that is a good sign. Again, we want to see both teams having full 7 players that are fully playing, because this is for a chance at $75,000. Now, again, this first team, they have to play twice tonight. So that's something I haven't really talked about yet. Is that something do you think that's in these guys' minds at all? And once you do this, like, well, now I have to go into another one and play, and that's like a lot of pressure for me.
It's not that hard to play 2 games in a night when they're separated by a game.
Oh, okay.
When you're playing from home. So it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Sure.
I mean, they probably played in a dozen tournaments where they've done something similar, maybe even had more games overall. But doing it live is a whole different ball game, and then doing it back-to-back live is probably one of the worst situations you can get into in esports.
Borderline
because
torture.
you've been sitting there playing for 2 hours, and then just for the pacing of how shows work and how the tournament brackets have to run, they're trying to get everything set up for the finals. So say you're in oftentimes the 3rd, 4th match will take place, and whoever played right before that and lost has to play immediately again. So A, you've lost, and B, you're super tired because you've been playing for 2 hours, and it's like, okay, quick run to the bathroom, quick drink of water, and get back in it, guys.
And you're just
it can be real rough.
We just want to be doing. So luckily tonight we are giving them a break, and I totally they are from home, which does seem like would make it so much easier. You're in your element, you're in your comfort zone.
I'll put it this way: I was in that situation one time, and it was bad enough to where I was like, $1,000, who cares? It's like I just want to
prize money.
I just lost. I certainly didn't want to be playing again.
Not worth it.
It's rough.
Wow. So again, just showing the pressure that these players will go under, not only during the live events, but again, some of them at home, but not nearly as bad, because it does. It's like, oh, we're at home. Like, all right, we have a quick break. We probably take the next match, maybe 40 minutes. Have it going on. Go to the kitchen, grab some snacks, eat some Doritos. Not a sponsor. Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready, and now going back into the next battle. Let's see if Aquatic M60s can tie it up, or will Color Wanted make it 3-1. Let's see what we've got for our tanks again.
They're obviously the same, as it is illegal to change, but 2 215s, 2 IS7s, a batch shot, a T22, an AMX 1390 for caller wanted, AM60s with an E100, 2 and 5, 2 E5s, a T22, and 2 Conquerors.
Ooh, bringing in those 2 Conquerors. So, is this the same lineup AM60s ran? Last time they were on defense?
Last time they were on defense.
They brought the 2 turn
I
9s.
believe so, yes.
Yeah. All right. So we'll see now what caller wanted. It'll be interesting, 'cause, if your caller wanted, David, can you take the experience of your last match against the AM60s and kind of figure out the feel of what their comp is, or is it just once you're 6v7, it's so hard to even guess on, all right, let's pull something legitimate out of this?
I would guess that the positions are going to be the same, so it depends on how much you're willing to risk. No matter what, you're going to risk something. And it's a kind of a common cliche phrase, he who dares wins, right? It's not exactly 100% true, but you do have to take a certain amount of risk to win, and if somebody doesn't take any risk at all, they'll almost undoubtedly lose. We can get into semantic discussion about that. But the point is, I think it's fair for Caller Wanted to expect AM60s to be in the exact same places they were last time and use the information from that previous round to try and help them find the right positions.
So it's kind of harder then for AM60s looking at Caller Wanted because they're possibly not going to do what they're going to plan on doing.
Absolutely. I always drastically preferred to teams play against teams that were playing their best with a full amount of people because of things like that. Caller Wanted just got to look at you, and you basically didn't get a look at them.
Sure.
So what do you do with it?
Interesting. So I guess you can try to find a positive coming into kind of the game being down. There are still benefits from that.
But I will say, this is something AM60s has done in the past. They've done it for Ghost Town most recently, so whatever Caller Wanted did or didn't do clearly was not going to have much of an impact on what AM60s was going to do. AM60s not playing much of a counter game in this instance. They're not really a counter team. They just choose strategies that are most appropriate for their opponent. So the difference there is blindly pushing tanks into a particular place where you usually get a pick because of the timing of the enemy team's strategy. So it's a hard counter. You're banking everything on
that
a
they're
big
doing
risk.
that.
Picking a strategy for your opponent is just like, I've got all these different strategies we can run. They're all balanced. We should be able to handle whatever anybody else does. But this is the one I'd rather go with because it's the one that's most likely to work.
All right, here right now, I just want to confirm something. It looks like where Aggressor is in that bat chat, he looks like he had a shot onto the cap here right in the center. I don't know if you can confirm that for me or not.
He does. So in the West, Aggressor can get shots into the air from this angle.
Nice.
And that is part of this defensive strategy. Dr. Halo's going to put the cap pressure on. I was expecting him to stay.
Oh.
I am not entirely sure as to why he left. It looks like perhaps he wasn't protected by that crane, and that scared him off. But he does have a number of people watching that one angle. So I'm really not sure what the call to bring Dr. Halo off the cap was about.
So Smiley Rage did spot out Morphic and Mr. Man and Shapeshifter coming up, so that might have been it.
Yes, so it's only Lemming Rush there to repel that one angle. Fixer Reloaded doesn't have a great shot without shooting through where Dr. Halo was, and I don't believe he has that vector anyways. No, he doesn't. So he doesn't have a great shot to support. He has not a terrible shot, but mostly Magenta Panda and Delph were the ones that needed to get those angles in there to really scare that area off. But a corner battle like that against an E100, you may not get a whole lot of damage into him. It depends on where you shot him in the track as he backs up. Just a number of things. I understand what Caller Wanted was going for. It has potential, but they're a little bit concerned about what AM60s could do in return. And I agree with that. Those 2 215s very easily could have been hung out to dry. And that all could have gone wrong for Caller Wanted very quickly. So perhaps the correct instincts there to pull Dr. Halo out and look for another option.
My favorite tank to draw fire with, that E100. So Aquatic M60s using that beautifully. And now, one thing that I also want to point out is where Smiley Rage was that entire time, not only just spotting out those 3 members, also getting shots without being spotted in return. So he just had free line of fire there to those 3 tanks pushing up against the center cap, which I thought was impressive. That's amazing if you can use that and find some victories from there. But they decided, like, once they pulled Dr. Halo out, to pull Smiley Rage out as well. A little bit of a relocation going on here. Magenta Panda, Aggressor, Smiley, and Delph. All 7, actually 6 members are now spotted for Caller Wanted, and they're going to try to catch Aquatic M60s off right here. Getting some shots down to Felix from the back. There, a little bit of track shot coming out. Still, Dr. Halo is not lit yet. But if Yeah, goes a little closer. He soon will be. He might be trying to get some shots in from the back here. Wow, 808 points of damage there. Going on to Lemming Rush. Looks like Mr. Man firing that one in that E100. Man, when that gun shoots, man, does it sound amazing. Smiley Rage taking down Morphic and the Conqueror with the help of Fixer Reloaded and Magenta Panda. That is the first tank fallen for Aquatic M60s. Now Fixer Reloaded taking some shots as well. Veggie finds Dr. Halo, so the scout is gone. 4 caller wanted. Let's see how detrimental that is right now, as Aquatic M60s is all bunched up right here. As you can see in the D5, D6 area, caller wanted starting to surround him. This is looking dangerous for Aquatic M60s.
They do have a little room to counter push on Delth and get that pick, but that is pretty much their only option right now. Instead, they're going to go the opposite direction into 3 tanks and try and pick off Fixer Reloaded first.
Fixer Reloaded taking 424 in that I-7. They're starting to back off Magenta Panda. Getting kind of right in his way here. Shapeshifter and Euro coming over inside. The first shot missing, and Shapeshifter taking down Fixer Reloaded. That is a tank fallen. 4 caller wanted. They are now down 2 to just the 1 of Aquatic M60s. But here comes Delth from the back. Veggie doing a little bit of damage in him, trying to discourage him from doing it. He might not even get a shot off before he goes down. 1 shot, he does. 490 going into who was a Felix there. But he will be going down as Mr. Man takes down Lemming Rush. Delth falling to Veggie, and now Aquatic M60s they lost Flesh. Magenta Panda picks that one up, but just 3 members for caller want to remain against the 5 for Aquatic M60s. Make that 4. Magenta Panda with a nice shot there, that matchup, but he is now reloading. It's just up to Smiley Rage and Magenta to do as much as they possibly can while Aggressor reloads there. Smiley Rage going down to Shapeshifter and Veggie. Felix helping him out there just in the end. If Magenta Panda can get Shapeshifter low, or maybe even Veggie taking down someone before he goes down himself, this might open up a window for a Batchet to do some work, but I'm not sure it's gonna be enough. There he goes, Ural finishing that one off, and now it is 4 members of Aquatic M60s to just Aggressor in a Batchat. He will be reloaded soon. He's got 1 minute and 20 seconds. He's got to do something here. Oh, but I don't think it's going to be enough.
It is borderline impossible to pull this off, but not exactly impossible. Either way, Aggressor can only survive about 3, maybe 4 shots total of actual contact.
Oh, look
really,
what Aquatic is doing.
depends. Aquatic. Oh, well, they know.
Yeah.
They know that the cap cannot be done in time, so they're all piling into one corner, arraying their guns to look elsewhere.
Oh, look at that.
And it's
they're
very
all
good
checking
odds
everything.
that Aggressor will be proxied before he can even get in, and he's going to get spotted right about here, and here we go.
Oh,
look
hits
at all
the
those
brakes.
guns
Look at that.
turn.
Immediately, there it goes. 1, 2, and 3. Shapeshifter taking him down, and that is Aquatic M60s now tying it up 2-2 against Caller Wanted here in our first match of the playoffs. Woo! When it was getting low there, I was like, man, if and this is a big if here, if Aggressor had those shots up while a couple of those members were still alive, then could have been a different story.
Maybe as well. Veggie really needed to go down. Caller Wanted did have an opportunity to pick him. Remind me to come back to that. Let's get the stats done first.
Let's do it.
4 Caller Wanted, almost 3,000 out of Magenta Panda, 2,800, almost 2,900 out of Delth, 2,800 out of Smiley Rage, 1,900 out of Fixer, 1,500 out of Lemming Rush, almost 1,500 out of Aggressor, and 0 out of Dr. Halo, 1,390. Sometimes it matters, sometimes it doesn't.
It's just a scout.
3,600 out of Veggie, 2,700 out of Shapeshifter, 2,400 Mr. Man, Felix with 2,100, 1,800 out of Ural. Everybody else following below that 1,500 mark that we like to cling to.
It's a thing. It's a thing.
So really there, Veggie got shot a number of times, then was able to escape. And when I was talking about how Delth was available for a pick, and all AM60 needed to do was back up a little bit and put a shot into him, they took a different approach. And in retrospect, I think it was a little bit risky, but it was probably the right one. So they pushed directly into the largest unit of tanks that they could grab.
Okay.
And it was going to be a 4v3. They did get a lot of shots on Lemming Rush's IS-7, which really opened it all up. So the tank coming in behind them was a concern to me based on the angle that we could see at the time. But I did not realize that Veggie was still alive and floating.
Oh, just waiting.
So he pulled up, and that way if Delth came in behind him, he could get in behind Delth.
Gotcha.
So it's a trap, while the other guys tried to initiate a fight that other people would attempt to trap. So it is essentially a counter trap. And it was very well done by M60s.
Well, also as well, Dr. Halo was spotting out Veggie there for Aquatic M60s, so they knew he was there. But yeah, Delth having that's what he had to do.
He had to.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
So well done for them setting that one up again, tying it up 2-2. We are now going to be moving into Prohorovka. So an interesting statistic about this map that we're looking at: 66 games played on this map, and it is dead even. Offense and defense, 50-50 between the two. So with those statistics, if that continues to hold, we might be going into a tiebreaker. But maybe you kind of explain to me why that is, or what that looks like. Why is this map so? Is it an even map?
So, well, if you think about the characteristics of attack and defense, one team should have an advantage.
Sure.
Objectively on its own.
Sure.
Right?
It shouldn't
so
be even.
If
right.
a map is 50-50, I feel like that's usually more of an indicator, not necessarily of an offensive favor, but of perhaps teams not necessarily fully being well prepared on the map, or perhaps the best teams not playing that map that often. So the teams that do, they're still kind of learning and whatnot. So statistical variance inside that area could be accounted for in a number of different ways. I would expect this map to probably be something closer to 55-45 in favor of defense, maybe 60-40. And it depends on the team. And some teams I'd go ahead and say just flat out like 70-30. But objectively for the map. But we'll get into that a little bit more.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting into Prohorovka. It's all tied up 2-2. Let's go right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
For Caller Wanted, 2 IS-7s, 2 SCVs, 2 TVPs, and an M40, M43. Well, they're going big. AM60s with a 260, an E5, an Action X, STB, 2 T22s, and an RU-251. Caller Wanted is on offense, and that is a beast of a lineup on offense. That artillery, okay.
Beast as in?
Huge.
Okay.
It is very aggressive.
Okay.
I'll put it that way.
Gotcha.
The TVPs can't really brawl. They have to flank. The IS-7s can brawl, and the STPs can brawl to a certain extent. But they always have to monitor and take care of Baby Halo and keep him away from Morphic's RU-251 unless that's part of their plan. Perhaps they know that if they draw the RU-251 out of the fight, that there's something they can do about it.
Look where they're going.
They're going east. Now, this is a place that can be very, very, very difficult to protect in artillery, but that artillery has better angles on significant portions of the map, especially any fights that take place along the rails. It can get elevation. It gives it a lot of advantages when you get all the way over
This is going to be
here.
interesting. I don't think we've ever seen. Have we seen an artillery up on the hill over season? This entire season?
No,
on Pro?
most people keep it in the west.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of reasons why it is easier to use it in the west than it is in the east. If Aquatic M60s plays a dynamic western game where they take up a lot of aggressive control and take over the rail lines and try and high-low on a lot of these different positions, mostly the middle is one of the biggest control points, and then either the southern crossroad or the northern, then that artillery can get caught out pretty easily and die fairly easily.
Okay.
It really depends on where he goes. If he's directly on top of the hill and fires, he can be shot from
Pretty much everywhere on the map.
If he's on the backside of the hill, there's some cover he can use, but the real trick is to keep him unspotted. Right now, Caller Wanted has so much map control.
Look at that.
That they can feasibly protect him for the duration of the match. AM60 is pretty much in one of the worst defensive formations to protect themselves against this artillery. The artillery can now reach almost everywhere they are. Honestly, right off the bat of seeing an artillery, I would have biased myself east as quickly as possible because a western play against an artillery just is not going to last that long.
Not super strong.
And that is
super strong.
That is, in a sense, part of why I've criticized artillery on offense before. You are limiting the opponent's overall gameplay, but you're pushing them into a place that I personally don't like them to be. I prefer them to be in the west.
Oh, Mr. Man, taking a shot there. That came out of Dr. Halo.
Had to have.
That came out of Dr. Halo. I don't even know if he was he spotted?
That is a large amount of damage on a large tank. Dr. Halo absolutely killing it with his penetrating rounds out of the M40, M43. That's not common at all.
Really?
No.
All right.
You see a lot of 300, 400 splashes, but if somebody makes body contact, that number doubles.
The kind of the definition of like mastering a tank. Dr. Halo
depending
mastered.
On the tank. Depending on the tank, not actually body contact, but underneath the tank.
Wow, Permablue taking a shot there from Felix, trying to put some cap pressure on that STB1 here over in the east, but getting pushed off. Now, again, the cap over on the east, we've seen so many angles that can reset it from the west side, where a lot of the team members from the defense are fairly protected. Morphic taking 270 there, and that RE251 being spotted out. Fix reloaded. Taking a little bit here. Veggie Looks like he knows where he's at, but he's not going to push over just quite yet. Shapeshifter trying to do. Wow, Shapeshifter bouncing 2 shots. Looks like, but Felix not bouncing that one. Over 1,000, 1373 going in his STB1, and he is out of there. He's like, oh, that was a big mistake to push up right there.
Problem is, that was mostly out of the TVPs. If AM60's paying attention, they should know that they have a gap here. A hard push with Morphic in the south to make contact with that IS-7 or STB, and this could easily be game over in favor of AM60.
Oh, we'll see if they can pick up on that right now. Looks like they're just maybe too scared. A Shapeshifter takes A72 from Dr. Halo.
Too late now.
All the way down in J9.
Both TVPs loaded and 800 off of medium, and this is definitely going to be going to Color Wanted if they successfully make this push.
Well, they're going right now. There it is. But, oh, Delph taking 989, but they do take down Shapeshifter, and Aggressor finds Felix. A double kill coming out of that 50-51. Veggie takes down Delph. And that is a 50-51 gone down, but just 1 tank fall for Color Wanted, 2 down for Aquatic M60s. The HP fairly close, only about 400 in favor of Color Wanted. Ural taking a shot, taking a couple shots there, dropping down to 91 in that E5. And a lot of members from Color Wanted being able to support that center fight from multiple points on the map. Aggressor taking out Mr. Man. Dr. Halo finds a kill, taking down Ural, leaving just Morphic in this RU-251. Down here in the center, Flesh and Veggie up in the north now going head-to-head against a couple of members of Color Wanted. Lemming Rush finishing off Morphic there, and it is just going to be these 2 T-22s. I don't care how effective and trolly their armor is. It is not going to be enough to thwart Color Wanted right now. Looks like they're going to pick up their 3rd victory here of the night. The first one on offense here on the Pro Rovka. Fixer come behind Veggie. Veggie using, look at that positioning of tanks he was using to kind of block him. He's got 1 from behind, but it's not going to be enough. Fixer just relocates, takes the shot, ending his life. Color Wanted finding another victory. Ooh. It seems like the plan is like, hey, let's get Dr. Halo in artillery, and we're just going to distract the enemy team.
It's definitely working if that is their overall game plan. Let's go ahead and take a look.
Let's check it out.
For AM60s, 2,700 out of Veggie, 2,300 out of Ural, 1,200 out of Flesh, and everybody else below 1,000. Struggling to get in the right positions to do damage there. Definitely some strategic oversights. For Color Wanted, 2,400 out of Perma Blue, 2,200 out of Dr. Halo's M40, M43. 3
there it
shots,
is again.
3 hits, 3 pens,
Triple
no
threes.
splash. That's just insane.
Well, they say
Perfect 3 out of Dr. Halo.
2,000
for Lemming Rush, 1,800 for Aggressor, 1,700 for Smiley Rage, 1,600 for Fixer, and almost 1,500 for Delph. Just an absolutely incredible game for Color Wanted. Full control, great shots out of the artillery. And the TVPs, they got their clip in. They're positioned well to get their clip in, reload, and put in another clip. AM60s would have to be very well rehearsed and very strategically aware of the impact of those TVPs, when to fire and when not to. It's an uncomfortable thing when you lose a tank to then counter push to make up for it. You have to counter push just enough for a certain amount of time to get the pick and then back off and reset. AM60s just letting Color Wanted take full control of that match.
Well, and again, it reminds me of when we talk about teams needing to on their tanks sacrifice some HP to make plays, and it doesn't feel comfortable because on your tank, you're like, I want to keep all my HP. I don't want to take shots. I mean, obviously, again, I'm not a pro player at all, but playing in public matches, like when you take a shot in your tank, like instant reactions, back up, back up, back up. Like, let's get behind cover. So it's you really, got to train it into these guys to be like, no, you need to sacrifice these tanks because we're going to get the picks out of it. And just comes down to that confidence and the experience of these players for all the years they've been playing. Right now, Color Wanted is up 3-2 against Aquatic M60s. They're now on defense. Let's see if they can make it 4. Can Aquatic come back and tie it up? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
Color Wanted playing great set so far tonight. AM60 struggling a little bit just to find their cadence in these battles. Color Wanted now on defense with 2 IS-7s, 2 STBs, 2 TVPs, and a Borsig Tier 8 tank destroyer.
Wow.
Aquatic M60s with a 260, an Action X, a 430, 2 T-22s, a TVP, and an RU-251.
Dr. Halo rocking the artillery, rocking the Roomba. I'm liking this guy. I'm liking this guy.
Borsig is a great Tier 8.
On this map, we talked about that. Yeah.
It's just got a great gun. He's probably using the 128. Double check here. Actually, no. Wow, he's going big. He went with the 150. The alpha on this is significantly higher. The reload is significantly higher. It generally fires a heat round, which is a bit more risky.
Okay.
So lower fire rate overall.
But possibly more initial
but it'll
damage.
certainly pack a punch. I see what they're going for here. They can lock down the entire cap side with him as long as he doesn't get spotted. He can stay in here and spot the entire one cap. And then if it gets into reset territory, not only will he reset, he can fire an HE out of it probably to guarantee a reset.
Get a splash, yeah.
And depending on where he hits some of these tanks, it can penetrate for a lot of damage.
So do you think, looking at his distance, I mean, I don't know how well you know the Roomba and if he's running a camo net or not, but where he's at to where the cap is, if he takes a shot, will he be guaranteed spotted, or is there a chance that he won't be?
Yes, he will be guaranteed
Okay.
spotted. Specifically, just because he's within range of these bushes, and when you fire bushes in a certain distance, all become practically invisible.
They go, right.
So he will just essentially be sitting in the open.
not high enough camera rating to be invisible from that distance.
I suppose there is an angle here to where there could be enough bush cover in between that and cap. No, doesn't look like it. He will get spotted when he fires, more likely than not.
All right, well now Aquatic M60s looks like they're doing exactly what Claw wanted to set up to stop, pushing here over onto the north, driving up that western road there, following that 2 line, sending all their tanks, really. The scout for Aquatic M60, the RE251. David, with what Aquatic is doing.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Dr. Halo is hanging so far out of this, he could get rear spotted.
Oh, no.
Depends on the angles and how thorough these T-22s are. But if he does, that's going to be a huge problem for Color One.
Well, luckily it looks like Felix and Veggie are just, oh, no, they're just rocking back and forth. Felix will be the one, if he's going to spot him, to do it. Nope. Oh, looks like he's still safe. Is there any debris in the way that's stopping that? It looks like those houses have been destroyed.
It's more about the amount of foliage cover that's in between and the distance to a certain extent. Felix, more likely than not, would also be spotted to get into a position where he could spot Dr. Halo. In fact, Dr. Halo counter-spotting him right now just from that passive position. So, Dr. Halo, by proxy of his, or by effect of his spotting, his passive spotting, will keep Felix down, and Felix won't feel comfortable driving to where he needs to get that spotting himself.
Is this a situation where Felix should be able to, or could be able to be like, wait, I'm spotted here, I wasn't before I shot, therefore Dr. Halo is here?
Yes,
okay.
That could be done.
Okay.
That could be done. It's a very common bush, and you're not seeing anybody else poke over the ridge, so that's a very, very astute observation. It's something that AM60 should be taking into account. If they then learn that, then they can put some blind fire in there and see if anything moves or if the shots disappear.
Well, we'll see if they do that. Right now, it doesn't look like it so much so, as Morphic is putting that cap pressure here over on the west. 63 seconds right now on the clock. Aggressor being sent up, being spotted out as well in that 50-51. Not sure what he's doing. Might just be trying to get that reset there. Takes a shot there. Luckily dodging one of them. A little bit of damage.
That is a very weak armored tank to be doing that kind of
I was going
forward
to say, it's interesting. Morphic was spotted out. Obviously, they're trying to keep Dr. Halo's position a secret for as long as possible if they are sending Aggressor in there to get the spot there. Aggressor taking another shot, 457. Now just barely hanging above half HP, and he is on reload. 38 seconds now on the clock. Morphic is no longer spotted out. He's hiding behind that bush.
AM60s do have good position for that middle fight if they want it. And Caller Wanted is actually running out of a lot of options, aside from this reset from Dr. Halo. But once this trick is pulled, it's going to be a much more dangerous situation for them overall.
No, Aggressor
opening that up, taking a little bit of damage to guarantee that doesn't happen. Dr. Halo is going to continue being their ace in the sleeve to guarantee that they are not at a huge risk here. And Morphic's not going to hang around for much longer. Both IS-7s took into that middle position. Dr. Halo may be going to take that shot. But no, good trigger discipline there, making sure he does not expose the overall position.
That is great.
One more chance. Nope. He's just going to maintain 100% discipline to guarantee that that one cap, the entire northern side, is under his vision control. And that is probably the absolute best way he could have handled that.
Well done. Again, trigger discipline. Seeing a tank drive away, knowing you could get a shot and some damage, but obviously sacrificing it for the greater good of your strategy. Well done, Dr. Halo. Well done indeed. Right now, 3 minutes on the clock. So Aquatic now has 3 minutes to try to do something. They spent so much time going up there for the northwestern cap and it not working out. Let's see what they can do here to rotate. Caller wanted to have left 150-51 down there in the south. Ural is going to be spotting him out there. So we'll see if he's enough to kind of sway Aquatic for not pushing over there. Smiley Rage and Felix both exchanging about 300 damage there in the center. The T-22 and the STB-1. Flesh and Veggie. So they might be coming in strong here to possibly push against Delph. He's going to be careful. It is. The Euro's going over. Flesh coming from behind. They're going to take out this 50-51 here. 980 going at him. 13-22. 1691. He goes down. Euro picks him up. But Perma Blue and Smiley Rage takes down both the tanks for that color wanted. Finding 2 just to the 1 of Aquatic M60s. A nice trade coming out from them. And that is going to be Color Wanted pulling the trigger again. Taking down Felix. Lemming Rush going in for the ram. Taking 146, but it's not going to matter. They took down a tank for it. Dr. Halo, though, has been spotted out here. Shapeshifter and Morphic are applying cap pressure here. It's looked like there's all that they look like they can be going for. Aquatic M60s just trying anything that they can, and they think the answer is cap pressure. Dr. Halo being pushed out of that spot. Meanwhile, down here, Mr. Man going head-to-head against Fix Reloaded and Lemming Rush. He is not going to stay alive for long. A couple more shots into that Object 260, and he will be falling here. 24 seconds. Meanwhile, on the clock, Aggressor now moving in with Dr. Halo to try to get this reset. Hey, Aggressor helping out onto Mr. Man. Fix Reloaded taking that down in that I-7. There's the reset onto the cap, and ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Color Wanted is about to take Aquatic 4-2 here on our first match for the playoffs. Again, making themselves one step closer to the finals, one step closer to $75,000. Dr. Halo picking up that. Congratulations, Color Wanted. Finding their 4th victory. Oh, Uril's still alive. I didn't even see Ural.
He's ever since that Southern fight, he's been floating around here, and Smiley Rage has just held position and guaranteed Ural couldn't get back in the fight, and that's a great play. Not always trying to farm damage or win the actual direct fight, but just locking it out because you know you've already got a tank advantage, so it's easy to spend one to guarantee the other one doesn't get back. It's Smiley Rage picking up Ural as Color Wanted pushes 4-2 against AM60.
Oh man, now they're going right back onto offense where they did a fantastic job against AM60s, bringing their artillery. Dr. Halo, if he can hit those shots again, this might be a 5-2 from Color Wanted.
And keep in mind, a Color Wanted, or sorry, AM60s is do or die. If they lose this battle, they're out of the league. That's right.
Oh man, talk about pressure right now. Not only are they trying to get into the next stage of the playoffs, they're also trying to not get relegated. So, Aquatic M60, do or die indeed. Shall we go to stats?
We shall.
Let's do it.
For AM60, 1,800 out of Ural, 1,600 out of Shapeshifter, 1,400 out of Felix, 1,300 out of Flesh. Call it 1,300 out of Mr. Man. For Color Wanted, 4,000 out of Smiley Rage, 2,200 out of Perma Blue, 1,500 out of Lemming Rush, Fixer Reloaded, Aggressor, 1,300 out of Delph, and almost 1,000 out of Dr. Halo. Dr. Halo only getting in 3 shots, but getting some nice damage and just absolutely critical spotting.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, looking at what we just saw Color Wanted do when they're back on offense, pushing over to the east with the artillery, is this going to be, if you were them right now, if you were the captain, would you do the same thing again? Would you assume Aquatic M60s is going to try to stop you so that you go to the west?
I wouldn't even bring in artillery this time
just
around.
Totally
you
switch it up.
Scrambled their mind with it. Now, granted, he did so well. Maybe I'll go back
it's that fear aspect.
I mean, if he had done well in just one game, then, I'd change it for the strategic edge. But he's done well in 3 games now.
Every single game he's brought,
So with 3 games backing up, and you've got a 2-game advantage, so you can afford to lose one to a strategic oversight. Yeah, I'd throw him back in the artillery. I don't know if I'd go east the way that they did, unless they know that they could win the eastern fight, and then east for sure. If not, west if they know they can win the western fight. It's hard, though. Artillery angles are tricky, but maybe Dr. Halo has it worked out, but I wouldn't be surprised to see him do maybe the exact same thing.
All right. Well, let's see, ladies and gentlemen. Color Wanted is up 4-2 against AM60s. Can they make it 5 and finish Aquatic M60s from the league, or can Aquatic keep it alive? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
4 Color Wanted, 2 IS-7s, 2 STBs, 2 TVPs. And they feel the same.
Feel
Dr. Halo back in the M40, M43, AM60s with a 260, an E5, an Action X, a 142, T22s, and an RE251. And there you have it, Aggressor leading the pack, starting to head out east. The rest of Color Wanted is going to do it. And like you were suggesting, Christian, they will do the exact same thing all over again.
Aquatic M60s, though, banking on that, as they are now going east themselves.
That is the correct play in this instance. You do not want to let them get Eastern control. The only real danger zone is that AM60s, or sorry, Color Wanted will get their M40 down at the end of the tracks, which is a much more dangerous position. But if Morphic can come in from behind, they can basically take out that artillery fairly easily. Morphic getting lit up, 844 though, and I don't know if he can survive the one more shot that he might need to take in order to take out Dr. Halo. A huge loss for AM60 so far, and they are in crunch time right now.
Oh, I cannot even imagine right now the pressure Aquatic M60s is feeling. They need to not only win this to keep this game going, but they need to win it. If not, they are out of the season. Felix and Veggie both being spotted right there, shooting down onto Fixer and Lemming, not connecting with a single one of those ones. Delth up here in the bush. He's got to be careful.
They'll get it over time. Both those IS-7s are in pretty easy to kill spots, or at least once you start destroying the buildings, it'll be easy. The tricky part is all Color Wanted needs to do is wait until they send a volley on those IS-7s and then come up and over with some of those tanks so they can take out some of these mediums. But they don't have the overmatch they need to really pull that off. Not a sufficient one, at least, especially with the Action X so far dropped back there on the island. So it's actually better if they just stay the course unless those IS-7s get under risk, or those IS-7s get some damage out here on the mediums, because it is a huge gamble. However, if you could distract the heavies or otherwise bring the TVP back over, there is an easy mismatch there. But Lemming Rush and Fixer taking a boatload of damage from the side of the hill, and this is why the eastern side of Pro Rovka is so hard to play on offense.
Right now, Color Wanted trying to do what they did last time, but look at the HP gap that Aquatic M60s has been making. Ural taking 665 there from the tanks on top of the hill, and the tanks on top of the hill actually haven't even been spotted yet, which is so fascinating to me. Finally, Permablue there in the STB1 getting lit up, and now I'm sure there's a lot of shots that'll be coming his way, but Flesh takes down Fix Reloaded. That's an IS-7 down for Color Wanted. This time, looks like this plan just not working as well as it did last time. Aquatic M60s just in better positions. They knew what to expect. And they're going to make Color Wanted work for their 5th victory here. Flesh now joining with Felix and Veggie. Going to push on top of the hill there, spotting out all the tanks. Flesh, though, taking 1303 there. 5-way going to Delth. Smiley Rage taking some shots. 1680 into that 140, but Flesh is still alive. And it looks like Smiley Rage will be going down. Flesh picking that one up. Permablue, though, does take down Flesh. That's the first tank falling. Veggie taking 920 in his T22. Color Wanted trying to keep it alive. They have whittled that HP gap down to just about 1,000 between Aquatic M60s, so they are clawing their way back. And Aggressor taking down Morphic to tie it up 5 tanks to 5. HP-wise, though, still in favor of Aquatic M60s. The battle on top of the hill, a place that we usually don't see fights taking place here onto Pro Rovka, will be continuing as Felix taking down Delth. He goes down. Beautiful focus fire coming out there from Aquatic M60, which is going to allow them full reign over Permablue. Meanwhile, Lemming Rush goes down to Mr. Man, and Aquatic M60s keeping it alive. Dr. Halo, though, going to finish off that 260. Aggressor firing on top of the hill from the center of the valley. Ural did find Dr. Halo, though, and now that is just going to be Aggressor alive in that 50-51. Nothing that he can do there in his tank against 4 for Aquatic M60s, unless every single one of those next 4 shots can one-shot AM60s. It looks like we're going to be going to another battle, ladies and gentlemen.
Color Wanted's luck with the artillery getting exhausted quite a bit. I mean, Dr. Halo did hit some great shots. It's obviously not his overall fault. We talk about the artillery's impact in the match. AM60s figured out the right answer.
Yeah.
So, like we were talking about before, bring it again if you can guarantee you can win the Eastern fight. But they clearly didn't have the positions to win the Eastern fight, so if you're not super confident in that, was not a time to bring the artillery again.
Let's go into stats, because usually when I say before and then we talk about it, we start talking too long. So let's go into stats, but then I do something to ask you about that artillery play that we just saw.
All right. For Color Wanted, it's actually Dr. Halo that did the most damage overall.
Wow.
Great shooting, 2130. The TVP driven by Aggressor, about 2,000, but he was a little bit out of the fight for a lot of that there. 1,800 for Smiley Rage, 1,600 for Lemming Rush, and everybody else falling below that quite a bit. Over here for AM60s, Felix with 3,000, Veggie with 3,000, 1,800 out of Ural, 1,700 out of Shapeshifter, and the other two, well, everybody else also getting a foothold into that battle, but it just came down to significantly better positions in the north. There's really only one way to play the east as far as I remember.
Okay.
But it depends. You either have to bait out a lot of action from the northern guys, get them on reload, and then dive on them with autoloaders, but that's a go big or go home moment. Or
which is
you
awesome.
actually
You
take
guys
a
like
lot
to
of
see
speed, a lot of speed, and you go directly into the village right there.
Okay.
You actually don't go on hill at all. You shortcut directly underneath it, and then you expect those guys that go to that area to either get caught out, or when they come over to try and shoot you in the side, you're actually getting cross-supported. So it's a weird
Gonna line 'em
crossfire
up right in
thing,
the center.
but it's an incredibly technical fight. If teams are capable of doing that, then they're capable of doing the Eastern Steps play, some of the finesse on top of the hill on mines.
A lot of practice, though.
Hard cliff fights, things like that. So most teams don't do it. I mean, we practiced it a boatload on my team. We got somewhat comfortable with it, but it was still always a risk, even with that much work.
Gotcha.
So, and generally, Eastern side on
tough
offense
thing to do.
Is a very rough thing to do. The artillery could make it easier, but you got to give them the opportunities, and you got to protect those IS-7s. And that was really the linchpin of the whole thing.
Well, it did work out once for Color Wants, just not that time. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to the next battle. Aquatic M60s having a chance to tie it up. Color Wanted on defense, so they just need to hold. And they're going to be one step closer to the finals. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Caller wanted 2 IS-7s, 2 STBs, 2 TVPs, and a Borsig again. Be risky doing
That
the
is
exact
risky.
same thing. Gonna have to find a new place for that. Borsig AM60s with a 260, an E5, a 140, 2 T22s, a T55A, and a T54. So a little bit of a change up for them.
And they're going east.
AM60s again in a do or die situation. They have to win this one, and they have to win the next one to even stay in the league for next season.
So a huge pressure on their shoulders right now. David, before this match kind of gets too far away, I did want to just kind of point out something. With Dr. Halo doing so well in the artillery, obviously all night, you kind of using that where he's just on fire, it's kind of like, I would feel a struggle.
Look at this right here. Look at this right here. So you see how fast Felix got to where he is right now? And you see this path the Caller Wanted is taking?
Yep.
That is essentially the engagement zone of what happens when you push hard into the village. Right where all these mediums are right now.
Oh, they just meet.
But you are crazy exposed to back where those IS-7s are. I'm not going to get too far into talking about the concepts and the meta strategy that goes on over here. Just wanted to highlight how at risk you are in the north for a short window of time.
Well, right now, Caller Wanted about to meet a lot of the members up on top of the hill. Ural and Mr. Man having some shots there on the side of them. They have some in return, but they're not hitting a lot. A lot of those shots just missing on a Ural and that E5. Caller Wanted now in the danger zone. Mr. Man.
AM60s, huge window, going to try and dive on all these mediums and 2 reloading TVPs.
Right on top of the hill, they're gonna try to tie it up here. Veggie takes down Aggressor, and that is the first takedown for Caller Wanted. Delph has taken over 1,000, 1404, and he goes down to Morphic. Shapeshifter might be falling though in that T22, and that is gonna be Caller Wanted picking up that first victory. Permablue actually not even ramming him the shot, bouncing. Smiley Rage goes down, 3 tanks gone for Caller Wanted. Now 4, not a single one for Aquatic M60s. There it goes, Permablue found one, but what's it gonna do once you're already 4 tanks down? Caller Wanted down so much in HP, about 4,000. Aquatic M60s finding window and absolutely crushing it here. Flesh found Perma. Lemming Rush is now in a 2v1 against Ural and Mr. Man. Fix Reloaded getting surrounded by the final remaining members of Aquatic M60s. And ladies and gentlemen, Aquatic M60s are keeping it alive. They are in this for the long run, and we are going to be going to a tiebreakers onto Cliff to decide which one of these two teams faces off against Eclipse tonight to get one more step closer to $75,000. I mean, would you want it any other way? This is the playoffs. These are these two teams going head-to-head, and we've got ourselves a tiebreaker. Woo!
Let's get into the stats first.
All right.
Aquatic will get to pick with an offensive win in 2 minutes and 28 seconds,
Well
by the way,
done.
so we'll see which side they pick on Cliff. For Caller Wanted, Fixer Reloaded with about 2,300 damage, 1,700 out of Permablue, and everybody else below 1,000 in that situation. This is actually the real critical part right here. These 2 TVPs, but doesn't matter how many they hit, and I'll get to that here in a second. For Aquatic M60s, 2,700 out of Mr. Man, 2,600 out of Morphic, 2,200 out of Felix, 1,900 out of Veggie, 1,300 out of Ural, 1,200 out of Flesh, and
Wow.
Shapeshifter with 1,000, all of them getting a foot into that battle. Almost equally distributed kills across the board. So what happened there?
Yeah.
We were talking about how the North is an advantage.
But you have a window where you're
Unless
exposed.
the South goes blitzed, where you're exposed, but they shortcutted in order to prevent that. If they actually wind through the river, they're exposed for a little bit longer in a different situation.
Okay.
Not getting into the technicalities of that, because what matters is, remember when they were on the backside of the hill in the first battle when it was AM60s
Yeah.
that was on the backside. By the way, AM60s just picked defense. So when we got into that situation, we were talking about how if they were able to draw a volley of fire out of AM60s,
then you push.
Then Color Wanted could counter push, but they
Right.
needed both TVPs. Both. They
To
only
do that.
had one. So they couldn't mismatch it hard enough.
Gotcha.
The opposite happened when Color Wanted was on on defense on the backside of that hill. They fired all 8 shots out of their TVPs directly into the heavies
Aquatic
that were in
M60s
the
is like,
western side.
okay.
And AM60s just goes, there's the game. Push the mediums over the hill. We'll wipe out the TVPs. Literally do not stand a chance in
Wow.
the DPM per HP relationship. You look at it right then and there, and as
Good call.
a caller, you just get a huge smile on your face. It's like all we have to do is hit point blank shots, guys, and we win.
Easy game. Well done to Aquatic M60s for keeping it alive again in a do or die situation. They've now come back from a 2-game loss. Now we're going to go into the tiebreaker, so it's still do or die for them. But they've gotten to pick offense, defense. They chose defense. They've also taken a timeout here, so we've a few minutes to talk about this. Going back to real quickly, Dr. Halo in the artillery. Again, it's doing such a great job all night. The thing is when that doesn't work out for you the first time, I could just feel, I can almost sense just like, gosh, because if that was what we were banking on, he's doing so good, you don't want to keep bringing him in it.
The worst is either when they get picked early or when they don't get a whole lot of damage in and the enemy tier 8 does. And it was like a very rotational game because then you feel it as a player. You're like, man, we had an ankle weight around us the whole time and it was the artillery. And now I can't emphasize enough. Dr. Halo is obviously a boon to a team in an artillery. He is very great in the M40, M43.
Absolutely.
Probably the best in the M40, M43 specifically that I've ever seen the entire time I played the game.
Oh, wow. I was going to say all season, but that's huge.
No. The entire time I played the game, I don't think I've ever seen anybody fire the M40 better than him.
Well done. Dr. Halo, medical school working out.
There might be 1 or 2 that I forget about that matches him, but nobody better. Nobody clearly better than him.
Awesome.
So, but the tank itself has its own problems, and that became evidenced very clearly there, perhaps initiating some amount of doubt and tilt for Caller Wanted as they go into these final battles. And now AM60s got to choose defense from the northern side of Cliff. Wouldn't surprise me if they slow play this and do not play in any sort of fast, aggressive thing that Caller Wanted could kick back on, because Caller Wanted is quite great at Cliff.
I was going to say, between both these teams, let's say this is the first map that we had in a brawl-to-brawl head-to-head basis, who would you give that kind of brawl potential advantage to?
Well, in the early days of the season, I probably would have given it to Color Wanted, but AM60s did beat Noble on this map, I believe 2 times.
Oh.
I believe it was 2 times. I remember they stood off and camped against a very good team. They forced them to rotate. They took advantage of it. So AM60s, knowing how to play the right strategies on this map, I'm going to have to give them the advantage. They are on defense. They do have the most going for them right now.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is now or never for both of these teams to advance. It's the last chance Caller Wanted has. It's the last chance Aquatic M60s has. Aquatic is on defense, Caller on offense. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
The tension is palpable in this match. Caller Wanted with 2 bad shots, 2 907s, 2 T22s, and an RE251. AM60s with 2 E5s, a 140, an STB, 2 T22s, and a T54 lightweight. Both teams have significant brawling potential. A lot of DPM on Caller Wanted. If they can get the 907s and the bad shots to bear on anything at the same time, they will win. Right now, just the 54 lightweight, putting a huge risk out for AM60s trying to get this vision here in the 1-2 line. He could be at risk if these 2 people from Caller Wanted, anybody from Caller Wanted, decide to go explore this corner. They could easily pick up Morphic. However, they could get fired on counter from behind, but both those E5s going to be the first tanks at risk as they're slow getting up the hill. And Aggressor going to start looking for shots on anything he can get.
Dr. Halo also pushing up onto the cliff there to start spotting out anyone who comes up on top. Aggressor taking the fire, one of them connecting for 383 there in that back chat. And every single shot right now counts, ladies and gentlemen. 336 going back into Ural. So a nice little even exchange.
Aggressor short clipping already, only 1 shot out, maybe 2. And he's going to go ahead and reload. He knows what AM60 is going to do. Fortunately for Caller Wanted, they've seen AM60s do this before. This is exactly what they did the last time they wanted to slow play the North. They're going to make Caller Wanted take all of the risk. They're going to try and pick off Dr. Halo here as soon as he gets spotted. Mr. Man and Veggie are in the right positions. 1 shot out from Felix misses. 2 out from Mr. Man and Veggie. 1 connecting against Dr. Halo.
337 going to that RE251. He's starting to back off now. Has to be careful. Aggressor is spotted out. Looks like by Shapeshifter in the SP1 now, but now that he's spotted out himself, it's going to allow Magenta Panda, Fix Reloaded, and Delth to all get shots into him. One of the three connecting. It's for a little over 200 damage there, it looked like. 6 minutes and 17 seconds on the clock. And like you said, Aquatic M60s just slow playing this. They're not going to try go head-to-head, not try to do anything crazy. They just need to hold on defense, and they're going to go against Eclipse.
So much pressure on Dr. Halo right now. He is one mistake away from borderline losing the game for Caller Wanted and several minutes of great play away from winning the game for Caller Wanted.
Wow.
He controls so much from that position, and there are so many tanks looking for him. Caller Wanted can use that to their advantage to draw out some early fire before they push, but there's a hit point differential from the start. Those bat shots absolutely have to close distance before they can clip. And Aggressor trying to slide up the western side could get counter-spotted by Morphic and opened up in a very tricky, precarious position. So many different possibilities right now, and nobody willing to take that first big step to try and bring it home. And the longer that goes on, the more it favors Aquatic M60.
Right now, Ural and Felix now both spotted and lit up for Aquatic M60s. 461 going at him, but Aggressor has been counter-spotted there. 4 shots left in that bad chat. He's got to be careful, though. There's 1 shot going at him for 327. Did that come from Dr. Halo on top of the hill? No, that's his own teammate. That definitely would not have happened there. Looks like Ural was the one to take that shot. 5 minutes on the clock, so just 3 minutes have gone by, almost approaching that halfway mark, and Aggressor taking another shot in that patch yet. He's got to be extremely careful now.
We've got a middle fight developing here. A lot of motion from both teams as they're trying to find that proper engagement zone. Fixer Reloaded and Magenta Panda stepping up to try and catch those 2 E5s in between themselves and Aggressor. Morphic and perhaps Mr. Man going to go fish out Aggressor from the 1 line. He is very low and a risk to his team overall right now. Yep, Dr. Halo getting in some nice damage from the hill during that entire interaction, though.
There we go. Felix there taking a shot. 310 going into his E5 from, looks like, Magenta Panda. Smiley Rage firing up top of the hill. 245 now going to Aquatic M60s. Caller Wanted have taken the HP lead. They're trying to start increasing that HP gap. 658 going to Felix. A couple more shots, and he's going to go down. Dr. Halo going for that one. Taking 433 in response. Trying to finish off that E5. Again, he's got to be careful, David. Like you said, a lot hinges on what he can do here. Shots going off all across the map. Aggressor has now gone all the way around. He's in the southern part of the map now. Lemming Rush taking 673. Fix Reloaded taking shots of damage as well. And now Aquatic M60s are over 1,000 points of HP in the lead. This battle going back and forth between these two teams. Aggressor now being spotted out by Shapeshifter in the SB1, but he's firing down onto Smiley Rage. 382 going at him. 295. Ladies and gentlemen, the halfway point has gone through. One of these teams is going to be advancing on to the playoffs, and one of them is going home. Who is it going to be? As Shapeshifter is 1 more shot from going down. Fix Reloaded going to go ahead and take it, and that is the first tank down for Aquatic M60s. They are now still, though, up in HP, even though they are a tank down, as Lemming Rush and Smiley Rage are very, very low for Caller Wanted. So is Fix Reloaded. Flash, though, going down. Smiley Rage picking that one up as well. That is 2 tanks gone for Aquatic M60s. And Caller Wanted are looking good here. They, though, need to do something the next 3 minutes. They cannot just sit back and wait.
Morphic trying to make a huge play and pick up Delth from behind. He is going to try and flank in here and get some sort of kill shots out. If he can take down 2 tanks before he goes, it might be everything that Caller Wanted needs. But Morphic actually taking an even longer path.
Wow.
Hopefully for Caller Wanted, or hopefully for AM60s, he's able to get out of this very, very quickly and get back into the fight, because right now they are severely down a man, and both those E5s are still at an incredible amount of risk. Dr. Halo can start chipping in any more damage anytime he wants. Delth is free to flex up the western side, and this game could very easily fall down to Morphic, Veggie, and Mr. Man to bring the entire thing home, and against a 7-man team for Caller Wanted.
And again, Aquatic M60s, if they go down here, they're going to be out of the league. So much relies on this map, on this match right now. 235 going into Mr. Man is not a good way. 270 again. Dr. Halo might take down this T22 by himself. Mr. Man starting to run here. He's just going to turn his attention to Veggie. Dale fights Felix. That leaves just 4 members for Aquatic M60 against 7 for Caller Wanted. 1 minute and 48 seconds on the clock. Mr. Man is now spotted. The bat chat driven by Delth here coming around, taking some shots, missing them. 1 more shot away, and he can finish off Mr. Man. Mr. Man, though, can finish him off as well. Delth, though, he loses that one as well. Ural takes him down, but Smiley Rage finds Mr. Man. 3 tanks for Aquatic M60s, 6 now for Caller Wanted. Now it's down to 5. Morphic found Smiley Rage. Is this the comeback Aquatic M60s is looking for as Magenta Panda tries to push against Euro? He might sacrifice his life forward, but it doesn't matter. He takes the tank. Morphic has a shot. Who is he going to take it onto? Veggie finds Lemon Rush. It's now all of a sudden a 4v2. Aquatic M60s might be able to come back from this. Caller Wanted putting on cap pressure. 55 seconds now on the clock. Just over 60 in the overall match. Veggie finds Magenta Panda. It's a 2v3. Anything can happen right now. Aquatic M60s are fighting for their life. They have come back from a 4v7 against Caller Wanted. It is now a 2v3. Dr. Halo coming off the hill to apply that cap pressure. They're gonna pull Veggie to him. 40 seconds over on the clock. Let us know right now, ladies and gentlemen, who do you think is gonna take it? Who has this battle? Is it Caller Wanted? Is it Aquatic M60s? It is now down to 8 seconds. Fix Reloaded have found Morphic, and now it is just Veggie to fight for his team. The single-handed man trying to take it down, trying to get to the playoffs. It is not gonna happen though. Caller Wanted taking their 5th victory here is gonna move on to the playoffs to face off against Eclipse. What an amazing battle between these two teams. Oh man, this is the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome, just welcome. Whew.
Doesn't get any closer than that.
No.
Let's go ahead and check out the stats.
Oh my goodness.
For Aquatic M60s, Flesh doing his best with about 2,900. Veggie with 2,403 kills, 2,300 out of Ural, 1,700 out of Mr. Man, 1,300 out of Morphic, 1,172 out of Shapeshifter, and Felix going down in a very rough situation, not getting much damage in. Meanwhile, for Caller Wanted, Fixer Reloaded, 3,600 in his 907. Smiley Rage, 2,600 in his 907. And the man of the match, without a doubt, in my opinion,
Dr. Halo.
Dr. Halo with 2,400.
Yeah.
How many bounces he has is completely irrelevant in this situation. He did 2,400 damage, and he kept them so busy, so tied up. Every shot that he fired connected with a target, they just didn't penetrate. And with his rounds from that distance in that position is not uncommon. Just such great positional play and control from Dr. Halo, the right amount at the right time.
Yeah.
And without him, that was a very different game. 1,900 for Aggressor, 1,300 for Lemming Rush, 1,300 for Magenta Panda, and 300 for Delph.
Well, congratulations to Caller Wanted picking up that 5th and final victory to close out their first match of the night. We will be seeing them for match number 3 facing off against Eclipse. Man, David, I tell you, if we're going to keep having games like this, my voice is going to be gone by the end of the night because that was just so fun, so amazing. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. And now it is time for a question from you guys using the hashtag mailbag. So, Quinn, what do we got?
All right, Christian, the first question comes from Bomber Gary, and it's directed to anyone, actually.
Okay.
And the question is, does anyone know who were the first players to try to get higher ground using the boost on steps?
Oh, actually, this is fascinating. David, this is one of the first things that he actually taught me. We were going through the history of World of Tanks. This is a very highly debated topic, Bomber, but it's roughly considered that when around the time Pac-Man was gaining popularity is when it was either Alexander the Great or Genghis Khan were the first ones to be able to develop the steps boost strategy. But again, super highly debated. There's probably people in chat right now are going, no, it was Sanji or all the different warlords of those times. But that is the most gone with one, either Genghis Khan or Alexander the Great. Thank you so much. That's a great question.
All right, great question indeed. Definitely digging into the past on that one. Maybe you players or you tankers, you viewers know the answer. Maybe you have an answer of your own, or maybe you have a question that you think you can stump us with. Bring it on. Just send it to us at WGLNA, hashtag mailbag.
All right, guys. Again, that is the first match done. Congratulations to Caller Wanted. The second match of the playoffs is coming right up. It's going to be Rival versus 07. Don't go anywhere.